listening to the GreenSkull Podcast,
a podcast for fight fans, music artists, and creatives alike. What is up, guys? Back again with another GreenSkull Podcast. Good to be back. Just wanted to cover Vitor Belfort versus Evander Holyfield and Tito Ortiz versus Anderson Silva. Got a little bit to talk about, so let's jump right into it. So from the beginning bell, Tito versus Anderson Silva was honestly one of the weirdest startups to the fight in the first round, at least the first 30 seconds. Tito looked really slow. Honestly, Tito didn't even look like he was throwing the punches with like any power at all. He looked really nervous before the fight, and Anderson looked like he was straight killer, bro. Like Anderson looked like he was ready to just throw bombs, and he was patient. He was patient like the whole first 40 seconds of the first round. And man, vintage Anderson Silva, you know he's in there to throw hands. I think out of all the people who have jumped into boxing after MMA, I would say Anderson Silva was probably the guy, for sure. I don't know, man. Anderson's looking good. Anderson's making a good little run. And I hear these rumors like he's going to fight maybe Vitor after, because, you know, Vitor had got the victory, and we'll get to that. But, yeah, so Tito versus Anderson. Honestly, Tito didn't bring anything to that fight. Anderson was, like, ready to go. Tito was, like, really slow. Anderson was just, you know, being Anderson and shit, just moving and throwing punches, piecing them up. Tito was, man, it was honestly just embarrassing to watch, because obviously they're both a little older, but Anderson still got it, man. He still got that punching power. Tito came in, rushed him, pushed him into the corner, and you know, vintage Anderson Silva was just like, you know, go ahead, throw your punches, you know what I'm saying? And bro, he freaking knocked the hell out of Tito with a right hook, a really clean right hook, stunned him, moved to the side like Lomachenko, and started throwing left hands, you know what I'm saying, like left hooks to the dome, and yeah, put Tito to the floor. So it was honestly kind of sad, because, you know, like, he's a lot older, and I guess maybe not that sad, because Tito had missed weight. They're fighting at 195. Anderson Silva weighed in at 192. And Tito weighed in at 200 flat. So 5 pounds overweight. Anderson still accepted the fight. You know, every pound matters, you know, and you signed the contract, so you signed the contract that you're going to make weight, and you didn't make weight, so it is what it is. But I guess that comes with the knockout, so it's all good at the end of the day, I guess. But yeah, Anderson Silva looked good, man. He legit put Tito on his face. He got knocked out and, like, bam, landed on his face. Crazy ending to the first round versus Tito Ortiz and Anderson Silva. To be honest, I thought Tito was gonna bring a little more. I mean, we saw Tito versus the Iceman 3, and he lasted, I think Chuck Liddell lasted maybe a little longer than Tito did, but I don't know. I mean, Chuck Liddell got taken out by Tito, and right here Anderson Silva took out Tito like if it was nobody's business. Like, it looked like easy work, man. To be honest, it looked like easy work. It is what it is. Happy for Anderson Silva. And Tito Ortiz took the L pretty good. You know, you win some, you lose some. What he tweeted, something like that. You know, live to fight another day. You know, I'm sure you guys, they probably got paid pretty well. So at the end of the day, it's entertainment. And I liked that he didn't celebrate like crazy. He was actually like, he looked genuinely worried about Tito, that he legit put him out. So he was waiting until he came to, and then you could see him, like, he started celebrating. You know, his opponent's fine. Anderson Silva has always been very respectful of all of his opponents, and he showed it in that fight, in the fight with Tito. So, yeah, man, Tito Ortiz versus Anderson Silva was pretty interesting, but it ended so quick, and it wasn't, I don't know, I guess it was pretty entertaining. Yeah, it was. I mean, the build up was cool. It was kind of like the electric moment where you're like, oh yeah, you know, the fans are into it, and it's about to be a straight up, like, they're gonna throw hands, and they did throw hands, and Anderson landed his, and Tito went out. So that was pretty sick. It was cool to see the Spider win, and I'm sure he's gonna continue boxing, and we'll probably cover another one of his fights. Now moving to the main event, Evander Holyfield versus Vitor Belfort, or the TRT Belfort that everyone's be posting on social media. Man, I don't even know where to begin with this fight. Vitor looked amazing. Came out like if he was still just vintage Vitor, man. He looked like he hasn't missed a step. Honestly, he came out blitzing. I was genuinely worried about Evander Holyfield because, Oscar De La Hoya was the original opponent, and he had pulled out because of COVID, and so Evander stepped in. I was genuinely worried for Evander because, man, he's older. I think he's almost 60. You know what I mean? And nobody should be in there throwing hands, especially when he was hitting mitts. When the fight was confirmed and he was hitting mitts, I don't know, man. It just didn't look that good to put him in there. Any commission that looked at Evander and thought, you're fit to fight, it is what it is, man. He took the fight, he signed the contract, so I guess you can't feel too bad for him. But yeah, Evander just didn't look like the legend himself. They all get older, man. Like I said, I think he's almost 60. And Vitor didn't let up at all. First round came out blitzing, throwing hands, doing a lot of this, going under, and Evander was throwing punches, bro. But to be honest, he was throwing punches so hard he got himself off balance. He threw a mean left hook, and then Vitor just ducked under it, and Evander fell on the floor. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. He's just older. He's an older fighter. He shouldn't be fighting anymore, honestly. This proves that I think that if Evander would have fought Tyson, come on, man. You guys seen Tyson versus Roy Jones? I think that they could have went a little harder. I think that him and Roy Jones probably could have went a little harder in their fight. So Tyson versus Evander, nah, I think this is it. Evander needs to stop fighting. He shouldn't take more fights after this. The ref stopped it, and he was upset. But to be honest, you were not going to beat Vitor Belfort. Vitor Belfort just came out blitzing, bro. Looked good. At the end of the fight, he called out Jake Paul. It was just weird in all of that. I guess. But, yeah, man. I honestly felt bad. It looked sad to see boxing legend just get toyed around for the first round, and I think it was 30 seconds or something. It wasn't very long, and you never want to see them go out like that, especially no mercy Belfort. You know what I'm saying? Belfort came in he wanted to knock his head off. You signed the contract, it's on. You know what I mean? Now if we put this in perspective, Vitor versus Oscar De La Hoya, the original fight, I don't know what that's going to look like, because to be honest, Vitor looked really sharp, bro, and I don't think Oscar would be able to handle that at all. You got to remember too, Oscar's a little older, he hasn't fought in a long time too, so I think Vitor Belfort is probably going to make a really good run into boxing, man. He's going to make a real good run into these fights. Honestly, if he fights Jake Paul, I think Vitor will probably knock that dude out, or probably win by decision, however it goes. But yeah, vintage Vitor Belfort still looks dangerous in there, bro. And that's pretty much what it was. It was a ref stopped the fight. Vitor was just too much for Evander. Evander protested, It is what it is. I think personally Evander needs to hang him up. It's sad just to see a boxing legend thrown around or pushed around, punched around by a man who's clearly younger and stronger and faster. So it is what it is. That was the first time I saw Evander Holyfield fight. Unfortunately, it's not prime Holyfield, but I was rooting for him. I had him beating Vitor, but of course, right when Vitor came out, I already knew it was going to happen. Vitor looked really good, really sharp, and he did his thing. So hopefully, who knows, man, maybe Vitor Belfort versus Anderson Silva, since they're both looking pretty good. You never know. Maybe that rematch, maybe Vitor wants that rematch, man. You never know, because if you guys follow MMA, Anderson Silva laid out Vitor Belfort with a front kick, straight up. I think he looked at the floor or something and then kicked Vitor straight in the face and knocked him out in the UFC. So crazy knockout. Obviously, if they fight again, I'm assuming it's probably going to be boxing, and they're both older now, but I think they're actually close to the same age. I'm not sure, to be honest, but if that was a fight, that would be a pretty interesting fight, because they both come out they're here for the business. They're here to throw hands. They're not here just to entertain. it for sure looks like they're here to like start a career of boxing, because I'm sure they didn't. Most of their career was in MMA, so I think they're just getting as much as they can get before they have to stop fighting. And if they keep winning in these first rounds like that, then it might be a doable career. But anyways, guys, that's just my thoughts on the fights. It was definitely entertaining, mostly sad, but more on the Evander Holyfield side. Wasn't really rooting for Tito Ortiz, especially when he missed weight, but it's all good. Thank you guys for tuning into the GreenSkull Podcast. I'm going to be coming back. I'm going to have a couple of guests coming up soon, so stay tuned, and we're going to be doing it in person. And thank you guys for subscribing and watching the videos, man. I appreciate you guys. Peace.
You're listening to the GreenSkull Podcast.
A podcast for fight fans, music artists, and creatives alike.